Hello guys, happy Thursday. Welcome to review lesson 4. This is a little longer lesson because this review comprises 30 questions. So let's get it started. So let me present my screen real quick. Lesson number 4. This comprises, if you are reviewing with the textbook, this comprises AMSCO chapters 8 and 9 and chapter 11. Number 1. Which of the following statements accurately describes the Monroe Doctrine? A. It causes an immediate change in the U.S. role in world affairs. B. It asserted the U.S. right to send troops into the countries of Latin America to provide political stability. C. It declared U.S. opposition to European intervention in the affairs of independent countries of the Western Hemisphere. Or D. It was fully supported by the British government. Or E. It established the U.S. claim to being a world power. The correct answer is C. It declared the U.S. did not support European intervention in the affairs of the Western Hemisphere. So this map shows the United States directly after the A. Louisiana Purchase, B. War of 1812, C. Rush-Bigott Treaty, D. Florida Purchase, or E. Missouri Compromise. Notice the key down here, slave states or free states. So we are definitely talking about the antebellum period right now, and this map clearly shows E, the Missouri Compromise, the split between slave states and free states right here, with Missouri being there. Number 3. Which of the following increased Southern planters' reliance on slaves? Missouri Compromise, invention of the steamboat, invention of the cotton gin, Lowell system, or Louisiana Purchase? The correct answer is C, because remember, the invention of the cotton gin was seen as very popular and increased the demand of slaves. More slaves equals more cotton equals more money. Remember that diagram I showed you. Number 4. The Erie Canal was significant because it A. challenged railroads as the primary transportation system of the early 1800s. B. Tied the manufacturing of the East to the farming of the West. C. Was the first federally funded internal improvement. Or D. Stimulated subsistence farming and manufacturing in the West. Or E. Increased trade with Great Britain. The answer is B. Tied the manufacturing of the East to the farming of the West, because canals were major transport back in those days. Number 5. A major effect of John Marshall's Supreme Court decision was to A. Expand federal power and limit the state's power. B. Expand the state's power and limit federal power. C. Declare federal laws to be unconstitutional. D. Protect and enlarge the jurisdiction of state courts. Or E. Legitimize a strict interpretation of the U.S. Constitution. The correct answer is A. Expand federal power and limit the state's power. A crackdown on federalism, interpreting federalism. Number 6. Henry Clay's idea of an American system included all of the following except A. Protective tariffs. B. Internal improvements. C. State banks. D. Increased trade between all sections of the country. Or E. Federal funds for a national transportation system. The correct answer is C. State banks. It was internal improvements, protective tariffs, and the second national bank. So it had nothing to do with state banks. Which of the following is a correct statement about the United States at the beginning of the era of good feelings? Notice the word beginning. A. Sectionalism had become the dominant force in the nation. B. There were no more division within the ranks of the Republican Party. C. Federalists and Republicans united on an economic program of internal improvements and protective tariffs. D. Friendliness and cooperation between Britain replaced earlier policies of hostility. Or E. Nationalism strongly influenced American culture and politics. The answer is E. Nationalism strongly influenced American culture and politics. Because a great effect of the era of good feeling was this notion of nationalism after the War of 1812. And this was seen through cultural examples such as the Star-Spangled Banner and all of these nationalistic parades, and politics. There was only one major party and everybody agreed with everybody. Number 8, which pair of issues arose the most controversy in 1819 and 1820? A. Internal improvements and Latin American independence. B. Slavery in Missouri and Latin American independence. C. Slavery in Missouri and a financial crisis. D. Monroe's prospect for re-election and a financial crisis. Or E. Monroe's prospects for re-election and the protective tariffs. The correct answer is C. Slavery in Missouri and the financial crisis, because we're still figuring out the banking issue and we are still figuring out the slavery issue in 1819 and 1820. Number 9. Which of the following best describes changes in the American economy in the 1820s? Number A. Improved transportation in the West. Depressed conditions in the South. B. Industrialization in the Northeast. Diversified farming in the South. C. Improved transportation in the West industrialization in the North. D. Cotton farming in the South. Depressed conditions in the North. E. Railroads in all sections, providing the primary stimulus for economic growth. The answer is C. In the first decades of the 19th century, the Industrial Revolution in the United States was supported by developments in all of the following areas except A. The factory system, B. Transportation, C. Corporations, D. Mechanical inventions, E. Crafts unions. The answer is E. Crafts unions. Number 11. In the 1830s and 1840s, all of the following were generally true about immigration, except A. Most immigrants came from the British Isles and Northern Europe. B. Improvement in ship technology made the ocean voyage remotely cheap and fast. C. The Smith attracted the least number of immigrants. D. An overwhelmingly majority of native-born Americans welcomed the immigrants as a cheap source of labor. E. Poorer immigrants lived in the cities, while those with some money farmed in the West. So they are asking which is false about immigration in the 1830s and the 1840s. The correct answer to what is false, what is deemed false, is number D. An overwhelmingly majority of native-born Americans welcomed the immigrants as a cheap source of labor. The North wasn't in favor of that, while the South was. Number 12. During the 1840s, large numbers of Irish immigrated to the United States, mainly because of A. British persecution in Ireland, B. U.S. policies offering free land, C. Support from the Irish American Aid Society, D. The development of textile mills in New England, E. Famine resulting from the failure of the potato crop. The correct answer is E. Famine resulting from the failure of the potato crop. Irish potato famine. Number 13. Nativist reaction to immigration resulted in A. The formation of the Know Nothing Party, B. The splitting of the Democratic Republican Party, C. Major changes in the immigration law, D. Increased immigration from Southern Europe, or E. Greater sectional differences between North and South. The correct answer is the formation of the Know Nothing Party. This was large as immigration started to roll through during this time period. Number 14. All of the following restricted the growth of labor unions before the Civil War, except, so what is false about this statement? A. Increased number of immigrant workers. B. Economic depression. C. Opposition by factory employers. D. Opposition by southern plantation owners. Or E. Judicial decisions. The correct answer is D. Opposition by southern plantation owners. Number 15. 20 years after the ratification of the U.S. Constitution, Congress prohibited A. Slavery in the U.S. territories. B. Slave ownership by federal employees. C. Immigration. D. Importation of slaves into the United States. Or E. Efforts to change naturalization laws. The correct answer is importation of slaves into the United States. They had a big old discussion about this. A big old compromise. They permitted slavery in all U.S. territories, but they stopped in 1820 importation of slaves into the United States. Number 16. Which of the following activities was most commonly practiced by African Americans as a means of resisting slavery in the early 1800s? A. Sit-down strike. B. Legal action. C. Political action. D. Armed revolt. Or E. Work slowdown. The answer is E. Work slow down. Number 17. Before the Civil War, which of the following groups of Southern whites did not defend slavery? So which group did not defend slavery? A. Methodist congregations. B. Farmers. C. Poor whites. D. Large landowners. E. Mountain people. The answer is E. Mountain people. Because they had no reason to defend slavery. The answer, number 18. Before 1860, the change that most influenced the lives of Native Americans on the Great Plains was A. The introduction of the horse. B. The building of a transcontinental railroad. C. Sectional tensions between North and South. D. Immigration. Or E. The establishment of reservations. The correct answer is, wait for it, A. The introduction of the horse. They used horses for transportation, and it was easier to get around using a horse rather than walking. Number 19. Which of the following regions is incorrectly paired with an economic or social characteristic? A. Old Northwest and agriculture. B. New England factory system. C. Western frontier in 1850 and tobacco farming. D. Deep South and cotton farming. Or E. Border states and slavery. The correct answer is Western frontier in 1850 and tobacco farming. Shoot! Well, the answer to this one is A. The vast majority of Native Americans lived west of the Mississippi River. So, That was a correct statement in 1850. We couldn't find Native Americans east of the Mississippi River. They were usually found on the west. Number 21. The Second Great Awakening was characterized by all of the following except A. Efforts to counter the rationalism and disbelief of the Revolutionary era. B. Opposition for salvation. C. Efforts to appeal to people's emotions. D. Growing unity among Protestant churches. Or E. Widespread belief that the second coming of Christ was near. The correct answer is A. This growing unity among these churches. Number 22. Which of the following is true of the American Transcendentalist? A. Supported government actions and regulations as a solution to social problems. B. Argued for the importance of offered to all human intuition and individualism. C. Persecuted for their radical religious views. D. Belonged to an experimental commune that practiced plural marriage. Or E. Played a leading role in the Second Great Awakening. The answer is, so which is true about this group of people? Answer is A. Argued for the importance of offered to all human intuition and individualism. According to the Cult of Domesticity, a woman's proper role was A. Teaching in the growing number of free public schools. B. Balancing the obligations of family and career. C. Striving towards social and economic equality with men. D. Leading the movement for political and social reform. E. Acting as moral leader and educator of the family. The answer is acting as the moral leader and educator of the family. They were supposed to stay at home, educate the children, and be moral to their husbands. Number 24. The leading spokesperson for the tax-supported public schools movement was A. Neil Dow, B. Joseph Smith, C. Charles Finney, D. Horace Mann, or E. Timothy Dwight. The correct answer is D. Horace Mann. Horace Mann was the leader of the public school reform movement. Number 25. All of the following were true of the temperance movement except A. It was largely restricted to the southern states. B. German and Irish immigrants often opposed the movement. C. By the 1850s, the movement advocated the legal prohibition of alcohol. D. The early leaders of the movement were Protestant clergymen. Or E. It was the most popular of the Jacksonian era reform movements. The correct answer is A. It was largely restricted to the southern states. Number 26. Dorothy Dix was inspired to dedicate her life to a humanitarian crusade by A. the mistreatment of women factory workers. B. Conditions in the poorly funded public schools. C. Discovery of the confinement of the mentally ill in local jails. D. The lack of schools for the blind and deaf. E. The increased suicide rate in Pennsylvania and New York prisons. The correct answer is C. So, we knew Dorothy Dix was the leader of prison reform, right? So, what inspired her was the discovery of the mentally ill in local jails. Number 27. The abolitionist movement had the effect of A. Weakening white Southerners' attachment to slavery. B. Converting most Americans to the abolitionist position. C. Increasing the chances for compromise between North and South. D. Proving moral persecution was more effective than political action. Or E. Bringing the issue of slavery to the forefront of the reform movement. The correct answer is E. It brought the issue of slavery to the reform movement because the abolitionists are trying to abolish slavery. It's in their name. Number 28. William Lloyd Garrison and the American Anti-Slavery Society supported A. Gradual emancipation of slaves without compensation to owners. B. Immediate emancipation of slaves without compensation or immigration. C. Gradual emancipation of slaves with immigration to Asia. Or D. Immediate emancipation of slaves with compensation to owners. Or E. Violent overthrow of slavery in the South. B. Immediate emancipation of slaves without compensation or immigration. Number 29. The convention was significant because it A. Initiated the religious revivals in the burned over district. B. Demanded the immediate abolishment of slavery. C. Issued a historic declaration of women's rights. D. Addressed concerns for the education of children. E. Concluded that the Auburn system was a failure. Issued a historic declaration of women's rights. Post-COVID, pre-COVID, we analyzed this document with the Declaration of Independence, and I'm sure you'll do the same thing in your regular APUSH class. Number 30. Perfectionist aspirations to create a utopian society are best reflected in A. The Hudson River School. B. Thoreau's experiment at Walden Pond. C. American Colonization Society. D. The organizing of revivalist camp meetings. Or E. The founding of New Harmony, Brook Farm, and Fourier. That's the answer. So, that's a wrap for lesson 4. I am considering, this is a consideration of mine, I do have to put in a major grade, so I am considering doing a short response question on tomorrow or Saturday from this time period. So don't be surprised if that's coming at you. I do need to post a major grade sometime soon, or parents will get angry. And also, tomorrow I'm putting in the weekly grades for review lesson 1 through 5. Over the weekend, you'll have a short response on Saturday and review lesson 6 on Sunday. We're knocking it all out, and expect videos covering these packets from the civil rights movement to Obama coming to you starting next week. These videos are not required, but they will give you information to further promote American history. See you guys tomorrow with another review lesson.